Now, my stocks and shares ISA and my pension has hit over £115,000. And this video, I want to kind of go through the journey of that and what you've never seen before, realistically, if you're new to the channel, or if you don't know this, but I started this channel a year ago as a bit of a documentation to just the stock market. But I did the world of investments a little bit backwards. I started off in the stock market. I then spent a lot of years in crypto, which I will talk about. And then I've kind of deviated back to it for diversification to kind of settle a little bit of the volatility, because I'm father of two dogs, wife, and yeah, I don't really want to be a sausage anymore and lose it overnight, which I kind of have done a few times before, because I do want to be fully transparent. As I say, you've only seen me for a while, not a long time, which is good, but I have had 6 figures in my house equity for a while. I have had 6 figures in crypto since 2018, sometimes even 7 figures for short bursts during bull markets. Yes, it's quite large, but that's the thing. With those big, massive peaks, there's also big, massive drop-offs. And this is why I'm going to go through why I've kind of changed that. And this is what tickles me and tickles other people in the comment section when they listen to me for the first time and they go, well, why are you in a dividend portfolio? The reason being, I don't need to be in anywhere else realistically now. But sometimes the boring stuff, the boring portfolio management, the risk management and all that kind of stuff builds wealth in the background without having to be a bit, dicey with it. And you like this sort of stuff and you want to build actual wealth with time, without the craziness, slap that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 6,000 subs. Let's get there. But let's talk about the obvious in the room, crypto. I came realistically from crypto. I first invested in 2015 in the stock market. I then turned to the cryptocurrency market because in 2016 it was starting to ramp up a little bit and I liked what I was reading. I already knew about Bitcoin, but I wasn't really ready to take the plunge. I joined the Air Force in 2013. Luckily, I did in a way, because ultimately the whole thing crumbled with Mt. Gox getting hacked. But ultimately, I started off in the world of growth very early on, and it was mental. I took part in the ICOs. I bought Bitcoin early. I built a company. I made a good amount of money. I was able to cash out at the good times, bad times, whatever. I made money. I lost money. It's I've been there. I've seen it. I've done it. I was a CPD accredited educator as well. I've been on many, many podcasts. I'm all over the place in crypto, but I'm starting to take a little bit of a step back from that now because I only really focus on Bitcoin, which makes life a bit easier. Therefore, now I can have the ISAs, I can have the pensions, I can have the junior ISAs, I can do other bits and pieces, as well as building this channel too to keep me kind of going. But as I say, I started this in June 2025 in terms of like the world of YouTube to document my dividends. It kind of took a world of its own. People got interested, and here we are now. But the thing is, right, crypto has taught me you can build wealth very, very quickly. But the stock market, I think, teaches you the opposite: how to keep money. Let's talk about the first real step here. You need to split your money into buckets, because every single bit of money, whether that is crypto, your stocks, house equity, or other assets, so to speak, they're all different. They all have a different job. So for some people, house equity will give you stability. Crypto is high risk, super volatile, and higher upside growth if done correctly. It can also make you poor and maybe live in a cardboard box, but that's another story. My ISA gives me some sort of flexibility. Longer term, you could argue a tax wrapper in certain ways, maybe not in the future, who knows, but that will allow you to draw off it as you get older with tax-free gains. And then the pension. The default for most people, workplace pensions or your SIP, you get tax relief, and that is a long-term vehicle to allow you to have even more stability when you are older, because it is locked until that point, whenever that may be, who knows. But this is the thing, and I know, feel free to comment this, but personal finance is personal, and people always have a little opinion going, but the ISA is wrong, you should be doing a pension, crypto stupid, why are you in dividend stocks, why are you not in growth? You get the idea, right? But everyone's different. But the one thing that is real here, everyone's different because everyone has different circumstances. Everything has a job. Overpaying your mortgage versus investment, that's, again, another debate. You get the idea. But ultimately, you need to have your eyes on everything. Let's talk firstly on the screen about the ISA. Because this, to me, my opinion, the long-term wealth vehicle for dividends, for the world of value appreciation because I am predominantly in UK stocks. That can become powerful longer term as I compound, as I hit my limits every single year. And hopefully in the next 10 to 15 years, that will pay me an absolute belting wage. And it probably will be in the 7-figure mark, considering where I am currently. I'm hoping to be at 6 figures at the end of the tax year, which I'm on course for, but I need to get my finger out and start investing. Let's be fair here. Now, I'm not the biggest advocate for, say, trading 2-on-2 or even Lightyear or free trade because they all design in the same way that essentially they just throw a load of logos at you, they throw a load of nice stuff, and they don't give you a lot of data. So, for example, Unilever, random example, is probably not one of the best things to buy because it has an okay dividend. It's got some situations where it's okay, but when you look at like the data, that's all you've got. Like, how can you do your research? Which is why, as I say, I built my own platform to kind of help you see better pictures and me to describe them and hopefully provide something for you. As I say, there's a link below to this, but you don't have to buy into these sort of things. But my point is, you look at all these different things. If you get your ISA wrong, you're going to lose money because it's a tax wrapper. You can only put so much in per year. This is why consistency matters and why ISAs are a really good long-term vehicle. But just don't get caught out with the emotions, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's not very good. I'll openly admit that. But I've just moved it back over to Vanguard, and I ignored it for a while. I put money in it a while ago. Didn't really do much with it. Going to start adding my contributions to it every single month, and you're going to be seeing that journey as well. This is the thing. Going back to it, ISAs will give flexibility. This will give you the long-term compound over time. This is in the all-world fund. So eventually, over time, with the tax relief, with profits from my company, it will go into here and it will just grow. And that's the exciting part about it because it will do it over the period of time. I have at least probably about 23, 24 years until I can access this, probably maybe longer, depending on the age of you as well. You might be in a similar boat, or you might be actually looking to get your pension in the next couple of years, or you've already got it. I know there's a lot of people who watch me have a older age bracket, which is fine. It's done okay. The data is wrong on terms of that. That was when I had it on Vanguard. I moved it to Pension B, and then it's I haven't put that much in here realistically attached. I think it's grown about 10 grand actually, give or take, because I first started putting money into it in like 2019, 2020. So it's a long time ago. But it's, as I say, I was not consistent, and again, we'll talk about the failings and the goodness of that in a minute. But basically, right, the point I'm trying to say here: don't be clever. A lot of people, and I'm going to go back to it. They're going to open, and I know for a fact this is happening right now because I've got friends that do it. They're opening the SIPs on here, on Trading 2-on-2. Nothing wrong with it. But I look at this and thinking, wow, it's a pension, just be careful. People are aping into like some of the most traded stuff here, trying to make loads of money in their pension. You don't have to. You need to settle down. Avoid the hype because ultimately it could go shit-shaped. I've talked about my need not to buy SpaceX because I've already done it. I've already experienced that life and I've talked about it. This to me is just bonkers in terms of the price. I cannot get my head around how that is so high. That could catch people out. Now, regardless of if it's higher than its IPO price or not, who knows? But it may well correct quite aggressively and it may well capture you in a bad moment. Again, it's entirely up to you, but your money's your money. Putting it in a pension and you could be losing money or you could set you back years. Here's a little bit of a problem. Now, step number 4, and I've talked about it, my failings just then in terms of my pension contributions, right? I left my pension alone for years. I didn't touch it. Same with my ISA when I first got it. I didn't really bother with it for a while. I've had it open since 2023 and I've been really belt feeding it over the last couple of months, couple of years, whatever. But first year and a half, I didn't really touch it. Because I see this a lot. People will put like 20 grand in and then leave it and think, I'm going to get rich. You need to keep watering it. Think of it like a flower. Think of it like a plant. Because when I look back and going back to the screen here, when we look at the actual investment itself, over the last year, we were at, this time last year, we were at 53K, 46K net deposits. Now, obviously, yes, I have been adding some deposits to this, which makes sense. But over the course of time, the rate of return has also improved at certain points. Therefore, I am making money more than what it, you can see that 17%, 10 grand up, down here in terms of like this time last year, give or take 0.6, barely touching it. So that year of consistency going, right, I'm going to do a YouTube channel to prove and showcase my dividend journey with my ISA. There you go. proof is in the pudding, right? Made some serious gains. And that's the thing. That is over 1 year. No one can argue with that. But I know people in the comments will be like, but you could have made more if you went growth. Well, not really. Not really for me. I say Bitcoin for me. But ultimately, that just showcases in a year in a stock market, that is good returns. I can go through a lot of kind of data to showcase how crazy, in my opinion, this market is right now. It is incredibly euphoric. Because as I say, right, we'll go through it. Why not? This is the total return over a 14-year period, 444% on the S&P 500, right? Over the last year, it's up 22%. That's crazy. And that's what I mean. Like, we're at situations where it's been bonkers. It's been mental. And even when we're talking about like the real returns, that is a real return, actually. That's like with inflation taken off it. Fuck me, mental, right? Because again, we talk about these average returns and we talk about how life gets in the way. We've got family bills, we've got mortgages, we've got a business, whatever it may be, that'll get in the way of contributions. You have to keep contributing because you may well get good entries, you may get bad entries, but they will eventually average out, whether you're lump investing or dollar cost averaging. The contributions is the thing that really makes you more money over the course of time. Step number 5 for me was the itch I needed to scratch, was getting rid of the hype. That's what's changed it for me over the course of time, is understanding that you don't have to chase things. Like, look, I know people are chasing SpaceX, and I'm not really that bothered at all. I've had my itch scratched, and I'm still in Bitcoin. I will probably buy Bitcoin lower with my stable currencies of profit, have even more. It'll go higher eventually, and then I will take some profit, and that's my itch again scratched. But people will look for the cyclical stuff. They will look for craziness and try and make money quick. I could have made even more money in my portfolio if I held certain things for longer. I didn't. I took profit and I ran away. But it's just the way it is, unfortunately. Everyone's different. At my age, I'm not really wanting that anymore. This is the psychology thing. People get that greed. They want to make more money quickly. There's no such thing as quick rich overnight. And you may well see it, but you don't, as I say, see the journey. And this is why people talk about in my comments, why you're in dividends when you should be in this. Well, you should hopefully know now. You do start thinking like 8, 10, 12, 15% is not enough in a year. That is amazing if you put time to it. If you put 8% returns, 10% returns over a 20-year time period on average, you're going to be absolutely fine in life. Absolutely fine. No dramas at all when it comes to money when you're older. Another thing, and this is quite an obvious one for me anyways, and you may well see it if you follow along, is review your portfolio. Always check the data, always check the information. What is your portfolio really doing? Because this doesn't mean change tactic every single time. It just means understand the changes. Like, I've recently changed my ETF fund, my IUKD, into a trust fund, which is better returns. I will do a full breakdown of why I've done it and my full portfolio breakdown in the next video probably. But recently, one of them was 36% returns over 5 years. That's not good, right? The one I've just replaced it with, similar in terms of how it's kind of made up with UK stocks and stuff and dividends, but 112%. That's crazy numbers, right? It's virtually this. They hold sometimes the same stocks, but it's managed. It's obviously fees are going to be higher, but it just makes more sense realistically for me. And that's the thing, like, you've got to kind of look at your portfolio. I see a lot of content creators having a portfolio for 20 years or 15 years, 10 years, whatever. Never touched it, but they're actually keeping hold of something that they've made good money on in terms of previous profits, but dividends or mainly. But realistically, it's changed. Like, I look at my portfolio now, I'm thinking, why am I still holding some things? Well, there's a reason for it, but there's points where I will probably stop and go, if that data comes in weak on the next earnings, for example, not mentioning names of either, it may well be a thing, well, I might just get rid of that. Tesco's another one. Tesco has really, really, really tight margins. Some tariffs could come along, fruit could change, whatever, I don't know. Or farmers could get a bit disgruntled and change pricing. It might well move the needle the wrong way. So you've got to be very, very open with your portfolio, even with your ETFs. And step 7, or whatever step I'm on, I can't remember now, you've got to have a target or a goal, right? For me, I want to belt feed my portfolio. Really be belt feed. You know my goal, it's 1 million by the age of 50. That is my goal. Overall, between my overall ISA, pretty much, you could probably argue my pension within that as well, be 1 million. I know it'll be much higher if I put my pension in there, but I'm going to stick with the ISA side of it. But that's my goal. You've got to have a goal. You've got to have a plan how to get there, and you've got to stick with it, which is why the consistency matters, why changing your portfolio to achieve that if things go a bit awry. Or more importantly, as I say, just proper good planning. and good research. So that's basically how I got there. If you're thinking of it in logical terms, it is quite simple. There's not one magic stock that did it, especially in the world of the stock market. No, I didn't do it through perfect timing. I didn't bloody chase a clout, especially no, definitely not. I just turned up. I increased my contributions. I learned from mistakes. I adapted. I improved what I was doing. I'm getting better and better even now because I'm building tools to make me see stocks faster, better, being able to see if there's an issue with them with the score rankings, which I highly suggest you go and check out, especially when you consider it's only on offer for a couple of weeks now. It's going to be cheap anyways. I'm not going to put the prices up, don't worry. But at the end of the day, I want to help you guys build wealth longer term. And if I can provide the tools that'll do that, that's a really, really good thing to do too, which is why I'm keeping it cheap because I don't want to really profit massively off it. I just want to provide something for you, which is why there's a free Discord coming soon, which could be chaos, just saying. But the main thing, stick to a plan. Too many people watch too many YouTubers, and that becomes a problem because you see one YouTuber doing one thing, you're doing another, I'm doing another, whatever, whatever. And all of a sudden, you're going to find that, well, they're doing well for a bit, I'll move over. Then eventually I'll do well, then they'll move over back over to the. You get the idea. Stick to a plan, have a goal, have your contribution set, and be open minded to any potential changes.